Welcome to segment 3, you guys, which is where to start or where to catch up if you're in that boat, which is fine. Whatever boat you're in is fine. So in this segment, we are going to talk about taking the overwhelm out of preserving photos and memories. So we've got some tips and ideas here to help you get going. And I think this is the most important one, actually. Getting started is the only challenge. Because once you start, you'll begin reaping all the benefits of memory keeping, and some of them are listed here. We talked about others in the first segment, but getting started, it can be challenging if you're overwhelmed or if you just don't know where to start or whatever. So this segment will give you some suggestions and some tips, but I just do want you to remember getting started is the only challenge. Once you get started, it's not that hard, honestly. So the good news is that step 1 is actually already done. You want convenience, you want photo privacy, you want high quality printed products, you want security for your digital photo and video storage, you want the ability to pass on and share your photos. That's all available to you in the free Forever account that you have already opened. So check, step 1 is done. So now you're ready. So here are some ideas for where to start. This comes from everything I'm sharing here in this segment pretty much comes from 18 years now as a memory keeping consultant and just helping people and seeing what works for people and what they like and what helps and stuff. So here are 4 ideas where to start. Start small. Start with whatever is the easiest thing to accomplish. Do a little thing first. Or start with what's most recent, like last year. Like, okay, I'm just going to upload all my photos from last year, or I'm just going to put all my photos from last year in a book. Starting with what's most recent can help kind of propel you forward because it's so fresh and fun and exciting. And oh yeah, you get to look at all the pictures and stuff. And sometimes that's a great place to start. Or you can start where you left off. If you left off when you had your 3rd baby or whatever, and you haven't really done any memory keeping since, you can always start there, right? You're just picking up right where you left off. Or start with something fun. I know a lot of people who like doing this. Just focus on a recent vacation or, an anniversary, birthday celebration, something like that. If you're starting with something fun, again, you're sort of well, it's fun. And then moving forward from there is pretty easy. All right. I do also want to share 3 tips for success as you're getting started and or catching up. The first one is to focus on one thing. If you can see that a lot needs to be done, it can be easy to get overwhelmed, but please don't. Just focus on one thing at a time. Accomplishing just one thing, like those 4 things that I just mentioned, often gives you the momentum to propel you forward to the next thing. It makes the next thing a lot easier. So just focus on one thing, pick one thing to do and focus on that. Tip number 2 is to make time. So contrary to popular belief, we don't find time for anything ever. We make it. We make time for things. So make a memory keeping appointment with yourself, put it on the calendar and honor it like you would any other appointment you have. If you have an appointment to go to the dentist, you will go. If you have an appointment to go out to lunch with your friend, you will go. Honor this appointment that very same way. So set aside an hour a week or 3 hours a month or whatever you think would, whatever fits you. Tip number 3 for success is to organize. And I know some people are like, stop right there. The whole reason I'm behind is that I'm not organized. And I know, and we'll get there in a different segment of this workshop. We'll talk about organization, but organize is a really important tip for success because knowing what you have and where it is will make your memory keeping go more smoothly. It will be more efficient and it will be easier. So organizing really is a very important thing to do. And we, like I said, are going to dive into organization in an upcoming workshop segment. So I want to give a couple of, throw out a few more ideas and see what sticks with you. One catch-up method that I like is the 2-in-1 plan. You do 2 years worth of photos and memories in 1 year. So here's the plan. You've got your first 6 months and your second 6 months. And actually, depending on what month of the year you start this plan, you may actually want to do the second 6 months first before the first 6 months. It just depends, like I said, on where you start. But let me give you an example. So let's say you start this in June. So for your first 6 months, you're going to be preserving your freshest memories. In June, you preserve January and February from this year. March and April, then the next month, March and April, the next month, May and June, et cetera, down through the bottom. That means by month 6, December, you will be totally caught up with this year. And then in January, you can move over to that second 6 months. Go pick pictures from 2017 or whatever, and preserve those. So you can see that after, you do 1 year, you preserve 1 year's worth in 6 months. Then you move on to the second 6 months and preserve another year. You got 2 years now preserved in 1 year. So Liz's question, great question. Here's been my quandary. How do I do that? By person or for the person? In other words, for my dad. I was getting confused whether I was creating an album of dad or one for him to enjoy. Yeah, that's a kind of a tough question. I do that too. I used to write my books like in third person, like calling myself by my first name. But lately I've been like, I loved this. So I don't think there's really a wrong way to do it. Just decide a way and do it that way. And I think we're happy with the end result either way. So yeah. So another great idea is to work together. So we're going to talk more about this in the very last segment of today's workshop. But working with a friend or a memory keeping group can really help you accomplish your goals. Setting aside time to work with someone else often makes it happen, but it often also makes it more fun. So the takeaway from this segment, sorry, I was like section, what word am I using? Segment. The takeaway from this segment is really just to make time to spend with your pictures and start somewhere. This quote by Wordsworth over here is pretty deep, actually. To begin. So use any of the ideas or the tips that we talked about in this workshop segment to start wherever or however you'll feel the most success, right? I want to say that again. However you will feel the most success, however you can get started and get something accomplished soon, that's how you should start, because after that, it's not hard to keep going. You'll start getting all those benefits. We talked about increased happiness in the first segment, increased relaxation, connection to others, increase of self-esteem, like all of those things that come from memory keeping. Once you start, you'll start enjoying those benefits, and it's motivating. Like it really helps you to keep going, to get a great system and be an excellent memory keeper. So, okay, we have about 6 minutes for questions. I will go ahead and stop this segment. These segments go so fast. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording for this segment, so we can ask our questions. And if you don't get time in the segment, because we've got to start the next one at 45 minutes past the hour. If you don't have time for all your questions, go ahead and email them to me. My email address is down there at the bottom.